Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode of Channel Your Light, Own Your Intuitive, with myself, Erin Chandler. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. So I have a message that has been coming through for quite some time, a number of weeks, and I just have not had time to sit down and record it. And this morning it is very, very intense that it needs to be spoken about or relayed, perhaps for some of the viewers on this channel. This is about personal power, and the reason why this is important is because it's actually about your knowing. When we talk about personal power, most of us on this earthly plane, if we think about our lower chakra energy centers, most of us have been conditioned or have had experiences that are very disempowering. And I say this both as I'm about to channel whatever information is coming through about this, but in addition, through my own experience of having a multitude of experiences that have been very disempowering or teaching me to be less than or conditioning me to not rock the boat or not speak my truth or not have a different opinion than other people. And while this is related to the throat chakra and all the other energy centers, the root chakras, all those things, I'm being told to reference somebody on here, the importance of the last quantum clearing and activation was about the emotional bodies. So the lower energetic bodies, the lower chakra energy centers, the earthly ones. So your knowing is extremely important. When we do not have personal power, when we are disempowered, because we all have personal power, to be clear. However, the experiences and some of your circumstances and thought forms and emotions and imprinting and energetic layering of others and projections of others as well can create a disempowered state, including spell work that people can do. It creates a disempowered state for us. Now, here's the master key, says Ellen and Ava. The master key is this: you can never accomplish anything without personal power. And those of you who lack willpower, this is often when you need to call in divine will. This is because you are lacking in personal power. How are you to break an addiction if you do not have personal power and you have other things layering over it? How are you to make changes in your daily lives if you have not worked on your personal empowerment? Personal empowerment is absolutely the key to everything. If you knew how powerful each and every one of you were, you would never hesitate. You would not have doubt. You would not have conflicting energies. You would be manifesting exactly what you wanted to. However, when we are disempowered, there is a flow through of interferences of others' energies, projections. Some of you, this is from your earthly experiences and life lessons that you are working on that are part of your pre-life birth contract. However, this and that are true, says Ram Dass. There are also others of you who this is no longer part of your pre-life birth contracts. This is flow through and interference of energy. It is important to make a distinction between the two. At this point, love lights, some of you are working on your own inherent lessons or your ascension process. Some of you are already in the ascension process. Well, hello there, Miss Kitten. Some of you are already in your ascension process. These are simply interferences. These are energies that are not yours, however, are creating a disempowering state because that is the state of the darker, dense energies. They are actually the disempowered energies. And when we have a flow through, whether it is through a wound from the past, whether it's you're in a disempowered state, or whether you're in an empowered state and it chooses to flow through, those are disempowered energies. Do not let them attach to you, is what I am hearing. Keep the ball rolling, keep going. Your distinction, differentiation, and awareness of whether it is a block that you are working on due to the earthly experiences. Side note, the only reason we have blocks right now, for those of you viewing this channel, the only reason you have blocks in certain states of the earthly energies is typically because you were actually placed in those circumstances in order to dissolve the blocks that move through the bloodlines, that move through the ancestral patterning. I wish to also speak on this. For some of you, there is a deep understanding. For me, my mom, I'm hearing this as I'm taking it on as me. There's a deep understanding and knowing those that have come before us, for example, our family dynamics. Sometimes our family dynamics, our family members have shown up playing specific roles of disempowered state, resembling those of the collective consciousness, of dark spheres of consciousness, and that which needs to be healed. They needed to play that role because you were going to come in and you were going to understand it, put a stop to it, move to the next level, because as you move to the next level, you have just rewritten the past as it flows through. I wish to give deep and great gratitude for all of the generations past who have come as an example or who came to set the step in order for us to come into this great awakening. This is important, and sometimes when I'm sharing information or when I'm talking to other intuitives or other people who have different ways of doing things, sometimes it comes across as a disrespect and a dishonoring of the ancestors. However, that is not my truth. My truth and my understanding is that your parents and your grandparents and 5,000 years ago all have set the stage. Regardless of how they have shown up, it has literally set the stage for us to be here at this step, at this point. So if you think about it, each generation and each place got a little bit better and a little bit better and a little more open, and the distortions became a little bit clearer. Why do we think that is? I can't be on this step if my parents and my grandparents and my great-great-grandparents and your great-great-grandparents and your great-great-great-great-great-grandparents, side note, some of that is you incarnated also. If we don't have those people setting the stage and the steps, how am I ever going to come to the intuitive knowings or the teachings or the understandings if I don't have those foundations that have set the stage for it? So sometimes we look back at our experiences and we look at them as if, well, they did this to me and they didn't do that for me. This is flipping the switch. It's turning it into, yes, that happened. Yes, that was done to me. Now I'm going to observe. Now I'm going to process through the expression of that experience based on what was done to me. If I do not express that, I continually stay in that state, and we stay in the status quo until another generation comes in or DNA imprinting is removed and we do the personal work. With this being said, these steps of our ancestors, if some of my family members did not show up in the way that they showed up, I would not be able to have had the experience in order to express it, then to integrate it and understand it, and to observe it in order to transcend it. In this way, it happened for me. It happened for me because it happened to me. It's a process. I'm being told somebody on here needs to see clearly the process, like plucking out their splinters. I'm seeing all these dark splinters, and the divine is literally plucking out the little splinters. It also has to do with cause and effect. That will be in an entirely different video because there's so many interconnections based on that. But honoring that which came before us sometimes means, yes, this happened to you. Yes, there is a victim, and yes, there is a victim mentality. Saying that this happened and it was unfair and I was a victim does not mean you're in victim mentality. It's when we continue this happened to me, sometimes is the continuation of the victim mentality. It becomes a habitual response. Whereas sometimes it's a processing of, I'm a victim, I'm going through victim mentality because I'm expressing it, and then I'm going to take back my power. The earthly energy bodies, the chakra energy centers is where we are struggling. We are on the 3D earth plane. This spiritual connection is always there, whether you awaken to it 50 years ago or you awaken to it yesterday. It doesn't matter. This is always there. Every day is an opportunity to awaken to it further. I wish to honor that which came before us. I have my guide, the shaman, with the eagle here. And yes, I do share my guides, and not everyone does. I am aware of the reasons for this. For me, this works for me because I'm using it as a tool to teach. And I don't know why, but somebody on here, you need to it's not that you need to understand that, but it's co-create. It's co-creating with spirit. I trust the divine. I trust that I am protected. I trust that I have spirit embodied and spirit disembodied watching my back every step of the way. Even if I don't consciously know this, I know this in spades. I know this. I'm seeing cards laying down, ace of spades, ace of hearts, ace of diamonds, ace of clubs. Everything's coming up, aces. I know this in spades. Now, here's why this ties into the knowing and personal power. You're knowing that something is watching over you. You're knowing that the divine has got your back. You're knowing that you had an experience for a reason so you could express it, transcend it, all of those things. Your knowing of this is actually your superpower. This is why we live in a world where we are disempowered. Because if I say, oh, I'm going to manifest this and my energy is abundant. I have LAKSHMI here. She says, it's a state of embodiment. It's an energy and it's a knowing. I know that I am abundant. I know that I am powerful. I know Florence is here. Words are wands. I know that when I speak this word, it is done. But most of us live in a state of, I'm speaking the words and I'm wishing for this really badly, but I don't know that it's done. I don't know that it's true. I doubt that it's going to happen. I don't think my words are powerful because I've spoken words before and they didn't seem to work out. I've had all these great expectations, but they never worked out and they resulted in all of these great disappointments. Training ground, friends. That was all your training ground. Your knowing when we step on a spiritual awakening, when we go within, when we ignite the Buddha within is what I am hearing. When we ignite the Buddha within, this allows us to cultivate a deep knowing. I will link at the end of this channel, the recent channel that was done on Trusting Your Guidance, which is actually a class that I have taught for years about the intuitive realms. You cannot trust your intuitive guidance or the things you're even saying outside of you if you do not trust yourself. This is why we have been cleaning out the house of self. Your earthly experiences have literally been a training ground for you to cultivate a deep knowing. You cannot teach a knowing. You can teach belief systems. You can teach indoctrinations. You can teach all those things and you can condition people. You can teach people a mindset, but a knowing, a crystal clear, deep soul, spirit, divine gateway knowing, nothing shakes that. Nothing rocks that. Even if you leave it and go on a divine detour, you will always come back to it. Once you experience it, that empowerment it's a state of power. We all have it. There's no one that doesn't have it. Everything I have ever talked about on this channel, everything that I teach, I believe that everyone is an intuitive, everyone is a psychic, everyone is an I am presence, everyone matters. It's because that is my truth. It is my truth because I know it resides in each and every individual soul. Even if some of your journeys don't appear like that, that is what is within you. Your personal power is required. When I am in a state of personal power, embodied, says LAKSHMI, it's an embodied state. I know that I can make a decision and I can focus and it is done, regardless of what shows up in the outside world around me. It is a habitual thing that you have to cultivate and condition and requires discipline. And that's not always easy. Why is discipline difficult for those who are not in an empowered state? Think about it. It requires willpower. It requires focus. It requires drive. What if your disempowerment is apathy? What if it is, I'm seeing freezing spells. Somebody's had freezing spells cast at them. That's part of the reason why you have been unable, unmotivated, confused. It's a flow through of the dark energy, which I believe 2 weeks ago, I did a channel saying that this would be coming. If you wish to go back to that, I can't remember which video it is, but scroll through them. It was very clear. It's a disempowered state. I want to talk about patterns now. I'm being told this is also directly related to patterns. Bringing it back to the self allows you to put it into a state of empowerment. It's not so you take responsibility of other people's projections or actions or their life journeys. The purpose of bringing it back to yourself is not about blame. It's actually about taking accountability because that puts you in a personal empowered state. It puts you in your personal power. That's the crazy counterintuitive aspect about it. And it's beautiful and it's wonderful when we continually move back to that. Patterning, some of you are experiencing a reflow or a reflux or a reminder of different patterns that you have. The question is not, and I feel like this is important because I know for me on my journey, there are times, friends, where I have done a pattern over and over and over again. And sometimes I come out of it and I'm like, oh, I see it clearly. And I see all the different points. But then for some reason, I go back into the pattern. And then I get back into the pattern and I think, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Why am I making this choice? Why am I saying that? Why do I have this? Why do I have that? Because a lot of you, it's self-sabotage. There is a deep seed that's rotten, a black rotten seed. I see deep steeped down way below the surface, way below the roots, right into the subconscious, which is actually the reason you're doing it. Your awareness in the conscious atmosphere of why am I doing what I do? Why do I say what I say? Why do I act the way that I act? That's pulling up. I'm seeing literally people pulling up, digging down deep and pulling up this deep, dark, black seed that rooted all through your energetic field. It's being pulled out. And side note, I see somebody else on the side of you literally taking that same black seed and implanting it through your energetic fields, through the subtle energy bodies and into your root chakra. This is a very important for a message for somebody in addition to your throat chakra. Energy centers can be manipulated. Subtle energy bodies can be manipulated. The thought and the mind can be manipulated. All of these things, your awareness of them means you will no longer allow it to be manipulated. Once you are aware of that, if that is for you, because that message is not for everyone. However, there will be many of you on this channel, if you are highly intuitive, if you see in the I'm calling in the angelical realms now, who wish to speak, Archangel Michael. There are different places and different realms and different levels. Some may attune to this as the seven heavens, the seven hells, the seven layers. Every different spiritual, cultural teaching and aspect addresses some form of the different levels of the realms of man, the realms of the divine, different hierarchy, although I do not like to use that word, a different hierarchy or levels or places and spheres of consciousness that one moves through along their spiritual awakening journey. This is part of the process. For some of you, it is a very narrow road. Stay on the path. There will be many distractions. There will be many thought forms. There will be many energies that show up, particularly as the duality becomes extreme. You are being asked to stay on the path, regardless of what shows up. Wow, this is a poignant message for somebody on here from Archangel Michael. So for those of you who follow Archangel Michael, I'm hearing we are protecting you. Do not worry about the other energies. Do not worry. If you call, I will answer. If you call, we will answer. You simply need to ask for help. If you do not ask for help, how can one help you? It remains you in a disempowered state. Your awareness that you can ask for help and it has immediately arrived is a place of personal empowerment. Florence SCOVEL SHINN is stepping forward. She said, this is why words are one. I call in my divine team. I call in Mother, Father, God. I call in Archangel Michael and the angelical realms of the highest guidance. If I am speaking those words and my knowing is intrinsic with the fact that they are there, guess what? They're here. Now, your disempowered state of not knowing when you speak those words is not because they're not here. Side note, if you call us, regardless of your doubt, we are still here. Your innate knowing is what brings it into full empowerment. This is why words are wands. Your understanding that as I spoke it, it became my truth and the energy arrived. Even if you doubt this, friends, that energy is still there and arriving and waiting for you to really embrace it, surrender to it, surrender to your power. I'm hearing, oh, I can see her face, but I cannot remember her name for the life of me. A woman, she is a beautiful, beautiful teacher. And she made a statement, and it is about your light. Your greatest fear is your light. Your greatest fear is how incredible and magnificent you are. For a lot of us, that is the state. For others of us, for other people on this subsets of souls on this journey, they're moving from the state of I am magnificent and all-powerful to recognizing that so is everyone else in their own beautiful, divine, innate, special way. We are all special snowflakes, and yet we are all part of the energy that makes up the snowflake. That is the exquisiteness of it. So everybody's working on different things. Back to the angelical realms, Archangel Michael says this: we come with the sword of truth, which is also the sword of light. which is also the sword of power. It is not about power over others. We must say this again because it is often misconfused when people are in an empowered state that we have control over others and we manifest trying to align other people to our own manifestations. This is an inappropriate and misuse of power. It is, I think, this has been heard through the ethers. A great misuse of power is to manipulate another's energy, attempting for your words as wands to cast over other people. That's actually in the next video, friends. And it is a magnificent state to understand this great empowerment. If you call, I will answer. If you decide that you would like some, let go of the people around you, or attempting to make them be a certain way or act a certain way or call them into you, and allow it to be the souls and individuated consciousness that are here to attend to that. You can manifest anything you want. Do not attempt to manipulate others to manifest that thing that you want. I keep hearing this has been heard through the ethers over and over and over. This has been done over and over and over. It's time to separate each of those things. When I say that we're removing the divisive things between each of us as like little marbles or little bubbles of energies or little consciousness, pieces of the great consciousness in individuated souls, this is not to say that we are melding as one as individual people. What that means is we are removing the dividers of the understanding that I'm a creator and you're a creator, and your creations can affect mine and my creations can affect yours. We are impacting each other with everything that we do, whether it's positive or negative. It does not mean those dividers being lifted up and the veils being lifted off, that we all merge into one. That is not at all what that means, friends. What that means is we come into the awareness of how everything I do and everything I say and everything I am impacts another soul, whether it's the soul that lives beside me or the soul on the other side of the world. That is the interconnection. That is the we are one. And yet we are our own individuated one. I'm going to leave this channel completed, as this is about the knowing, your innate knowing, your personal power, understanding that when I say it, it is done, is a personal empowerment state. Most of us are operating, trying to manifest, trying to change our world, trying to make different decisions from a disempowered state. I'm seeing somebody's solar plexus chakra literally over here. I also see hooks on it, pulling it over there. So it's not just about you facing your demons, it's about that other stuff over there. I'm also hearing, don't waste time on your demons. That's a song. Oh, somebody needs to listen to the song. It's a beautiful song. I see you, I see you. Don't waste time on your demons. Find that space you can breathe in. I'm so off key for that song. It doesn't matter. It's about the song. Tyler is the name, and the song is I See You. That's the song. I see you and Tyler. So take that as it resonates. That's a very specific message. I'm just realizing for somebody else as well. You will know that that message is for you. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Your personal empowerment lies in your knowing. You are epically powerful. The fact that we don't know that is a giant master key. We're moving into our knowing of this. It is a masterful state. It is a beautiful state. It's where all things exist. It's where you take the entire spectrum and it becomes balanced into the yin and yang as one. I trust that this message resonated. Let me know in the comments what pieces are for you. Understanding your empowerment, call back your power, take it back. Somebody on here, you need to play with your words with a deep knowing and just trust. I know that this is kind of happens, so I'm going to claim this. I'm going to state this. I'm going to call this in and allow it to come in. Don't put your foot on the brake. Don't put one foot on the gas pedal and then doubt with one foot on the brake. Don't put one foot on an open personal empowerment and then take your brake foot and go contract it back down. Don't do that. Expand it, play. What's the worst that can happen? Nothing. Isn't that wonderful? The worst that could happen is nothing. So expand it and be mindful that you are not manipulating other people's energies. That is not something to shame somebody. Somebody has shame about this. Once they recognize it, please release the shame. When we know better, we do better. If it is not intentional, It's simply a learning experience. That's part of the reason why we're here. Release the shame and allow yourself to move into a further expanded state, simply recognizing that what you do and what you say and how you manifest and your thought forms can impact others negatively or positively. This is calling back your power. That expansion is the ultimate power to recognize how each of your manifestations and your thought forms and what you create can positively impact other people. I see you, I see you. That's the song. Tyler Shaw, I'm pretty sure that's the name, but it keeps coming up as Tyler, and that's the song to be played with it. So my friends, I have a little kitten here. Hi. I'm wishing you all much love, light, peace, healing, transcendence, magic, mastery, manifestation, and all the wonderful, wonderful things that we have been accumulating and now understanding, unfurling, and unraveling here on the earth plane. Until next time.